What's going on, YouTube? RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting. Hello, hello, hello. Happy, I think today's Tuesday. Yes, happy Tuesday to everybody, Taco Tuesday. We are about 2 minutes early, so we're going to just kind of kill some time here for a few minutes, catching up with everybody before we jump into this. Give everybody a few minutes to join in. Haven't done a live video in a while, so let's talk about that a little bit. Today's video is actually, I got to give credit to Sean Cowgill over at Federal Prison Talk. You guys, probably a lot of you have watched Sean's video for sure, or Sean's videos, checking out Sean's channel. There's a link actually in the description of this video that can bring you over to Sean's channel. But Sean did a video, a little live video, I think it was like a 2-minute video the other day about RDAP. And it really made me think, because what he was talking about was pretty true. So we're going to talk about that in a couple minutes. If you or anybody you know is going through or potentially going through the federal prison system, you're getting indicted, you're under investigation, you've already been indicted, you're getting ready to take your plea deal, you've already taken your plea deal, you haven't done your PSR, you have done your PSR, it doesn't really matter where you are in the process. However, the earlier you are in the process, the more somebody like myself or another consultant might be able to help. So if you'd like to book a free consultation to find out how we might be able to help you or talk about your scenario, I just posted a link in the description of this video. This link is also in the description of the video. You can book your free consultation, so that's in there. But obviously everybody wants to get time off. Nobody wants to spend a minute longer in prison than they need to. So a lot of the content we do, RDAP, First Step Act, Second Chance, Halfway House, Home Confinement, all of those things that potentially can help you serve no prison time to a shorter prison sentence, mentally prepare for you and your family. That's kind of what our goal is. Personal narratives, character reference letters, prepping for the PSR, really getting you in a position to receive the lowest sentence possible and hopefully serve it in the best type of a location. Hopefully no location at all. Hopefully, if you prepare properly and you don't have a minimum mandatory, hopefully you might be able to get a probated sentence or maybe even home confinement. So all of that can be discussed in a free consultation. It really depends on your scenario. Everybody wants to know, what's it cost to hire a prison consultant? It really depends. It can range anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s. So it's a pretty wide spectrum depending on what you need. But Sean Cowgill has been a huge asset for those of you that don't know. Sean over at Federal Prison Talk, he spent time in federal prison, turned his life around, quite the journey he's had. And he's also a licensed chemical dependency professional now as well. So for anybody that we need to do assessments for, we're actually able to take advantage of Sean's services and help you guys get an evaluation done that can be sent off to the BOP to offset information that maybe was not disclosed at the time of your pre-sentence report. And Sean just jumped in the room. What's going on, Sean? Hey, bud. So me and Sean are actually going to be doing a video on Thursday. We're ironing out the details right now, the exact time. I think we're only about an hour apart. I'm on the West Coast, and I think he's an hour earlier than I am. So it's like 4:30 here. I think it's 3:30 his time. So we'll probably be doing something late afternoon on Sean's schedule. I don't know if it's going to be my channel or his channel. It's going to be a surprise. You guys have to wait and find out. So today's video that we're talking about is RDAP hard? So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what's actually hard. Because people always ask, is RDAP hard? And this is what Sean talked about the other day in his video. But if I were to ask you something and I were to say to you, what's really hard is facing what you did with your family and owning it. That's what's actually really, really hard. So Sean, when he did his video, he made some great points about RDAP and talking about like the pull-up system. A lot of people are like, what is RDAP like? What do you got to go through? And talking about the pull-ups, that's the accountability portion of RDAP. Pull-ups are just basically they're accountability checks. You're calling somebody out on their bullshit respectfully. When they're slipping, like, yo, clean up your sink, tuck in your shirt, we're not in the streets anymore. You're holding each other accountable throughout the process of your 10-month program in RDAP, the 500-hour cognitive behavior therapy program. When you see people doing things that they're not supposed to do, breaking the rules, acting a fool, just things that kind of got you into the situation to begin with, part of signing up for RDAP is you agree to participate in all facets of the program. And part of that is accountability. giving and receiving feedback. So if I see you doing something you're not supposed to be doing, my job is to bring it to your attention in front of the whole community to give you feedback, and hopefully you make corrections on this. Now, the problem is a lot of people have these mental roadblocks. Guys think it's snitching or it's weak, but the truth is, really what it is these people live their whole life like this, never holding each other accountable, avoiding any type of interactions or any uncomfortable conversations. So, it's for years, that's how they've lived their lives. And that's for a lot of us, including myself, that's how we ended up in prison, by kind of just going with the flow or not doing what's necessary. But let's be real, RDAP isn't actually what's hard. Looking your mom in the eyes, knowing that you broke her heart. What's hard is watching your kids visit you through a glass wall, pretending everything's okay. What's hard is changing for real, not just getting clean, but building new habits, waking up early, controlling your emotions, being honest every single day. And then when you don't do that, when you try to game the system, and here we're going to bring in Sean's video here for a second. I'm going to let you listen to a little bit of Sean's video, but then I'm going to show you a comment that somebody commented on his video. And in combination with Sean's video and in combination with this comment, this is what made me want to do this video today. So let's bring in Sean's video. Let's go ahead and play a couple minutes of this so you can kind of get a taste and flavor for Sean.
Hey, this is Sean, Federal Prison Talk, and I'm outside today. I was just talking to a guy I've been kind of working with, and he asked me some questions about RDAP, because somebody told him it's hard. It's a real hard program. It's hard depending on who you are inside. So it gave me an idea. I'm going to do a little podcast a little later and get into some detail. But let me tell you about RDAP. It's hard.
All right, so now if we go over to the comment section, this is kind of what grabbed my attention. In this video, guys, if you go to Sean's link in my channel, you can go watch all of his videos, including this one. He's got long form, short form, a little bit of everything. But if you read this comment right here from, and I guess it's public information, so we can go ahead and blast Francisco Chavez 43111. I went through RDAP. It's easy and well-coordinated system. You get everyone to agree to a pull-up or pay them for one. We had one dude get pulled up like 10 times and got paid. So let's break that down here for a second. Let me fix this. Okay. So what this guy just basically said is gaming the system. And you'll find a lot of people that try to do this. And let me tell you, why it's a really bad idea. So we'll talk about first what the guy's talking about. The guy's talking about, I don't want to actually pull up anybody because I don't want to be a snitch. Really what it is you're afraid of confrontation. You're afraid to hold anybody accountable. You're afraid to tell somebody when they're doing the wrong thing. When you're in this program that's supposed to be bettering yourself so you can get out of prison and stay out of prison. So instead, they all kind of behind the scenes orchestrate these pull-ups. I'm going to say you did this. You're going to say that I did this. You'll pull me up. I'll pull you up. We'll get our recognition for that. But I don't really want to pull you up because, snitches get stitches and all of this. And look, people do it, they get away with it. But let me tell you something. I've seen a lot of people go sideways as well. Somebody else gets in trouble. Somebody overhears it. Somebody gets in trouble down the road for something else. And they're like, hey, we've been orchestrating these pull-ups. And then these dumb little pull-ups that you pretended to not get your friend in trouble because you wanted to get your participation points, it backfires and you get in way more trouble than you would have gotten in if you just held somebody accountable for a real reason. No one's saying you got to go dig for these pull-ups and ruin somebody's life. But if you see one of your friends doing something that they're not supposed to be doing and you're not willing to hold them accountable, you're probably going to just fake your fucking way through RDAP and you're going to end right back up where you started in the end. You might get out of prison sooner, but if you're living with that kind of mentality, that's the kind of mentality that led you to prison to begin with. And it's the kind of mentality that you're not trying to change. You're faking your way through a program that can be a beautiful blessing if you really work the program the right way. It's not easy. RDAP is not easy. So when someone says, is RDAP hard? Yeah. But how hard is it missing your family? How hard is it looking your kids in the face or listening to their sad voice over the phone? How hard is that? So that's what I ask you is how bad do you want to make the changes in your life to become the person that you say you're going to be? If you're going to snake your way through the program, you're not changing, and you're not doing yourself or your family any good, because you're probably just going to get out and continue to be a manipulating fool. And kind of talking about that mindset, again, is exactly what led you to prison: the manipulating, the hustling the system, doing the bare minimum to get over instead of get better. So if you go through RDAP with that mindset and you graduate, the chances are you survived, but you're probably going to come back. Now, when can RDAP be easy? Probably never. You'll never hear come out of my mouth that RDAP is easy. RDAP was probably the hardest 10 months of my entire life. If you guys have watched any of my older videos, you've heard me say a million times that, the day I graduated RDAP, the emotions that went through my body, what I felt, my just every part of me, the joy, the sadness, everything, it's tenfold compared to what my release from prison felt like. So basically what I'm saying is the day I graduated RDAP was one of the best feelings of my entire life, because the accomplishment is so vast. It's not an easy task. A lot of people get kicked out of RDAP. A lot of people drop out of RDAP. A lot of people get recycled in RDAP, meaning they're not programming at the right speed. They're making several mistakes over and over again. But RDAP unit team still feels like there's hope for you. So they don't remove you, but they just recycle you back like 30, 60, 90 days, where you got to repeat some steps, which can be very devastating to see happen. So if you actually make it through RDAP, it's a fucking accomplishment. Don't let anybody take that away from you. And if you faked your way through RDAP, I don't hate you. I don't have any ill will towards you. I'm not going to go tell on you for faking your way. I'm not going to go report you to the BOP, but I will tell you that you probably aren't done acting up yet. It probably isn't your last prison bid if you're still faking your way to get through it. So when you talk about wake up calls, when you stop fighting the process and you start embracing it, RDAP isn't really that hard. In fact, it becomes a huge blessing. When you're in that room and you call your brother out for acting like he's still in the yard, and he actually hears you, and you see that growth and you feel that growth, if you're doing it for the right reasons and you're not just doing it for the year off, it really becomes a gift. And it actually does get easier in some ways, but I don't ever want you to think it's something that's going to be easy. There we go. We got here's an old RDAP buddy right here. What's up, Dossie? He'll tell you, in different prisons, they have different styles of RDAP. You have different staff that take it more serious. You have other staff that kind of will let you wiggle your way through it. But where I was, Coleman Low, people that were faking pull-ups, it always seemed to come back and surface. I never saw very many people get away with it. And if they did, they really kept it on the DL. But the thing is RDAP, you got to remember, you're living in a unit with other guys. It's not like you're just in the prison population and you go to a class and you go back to your regular unit. You're living in a special housing unit that's comprised of nothing but RDAPers. So even when you're not in class, you're still living with these guys. You're watching TV with these guys. For the most part, you're spending 24/7 with these guys. They're your bunkies. So everything you do, everything you say, tends to come out in the end. There was a DTS in there that says you can't be a soap opera 24/7. Basically, he was saying whatever acting bullshit you're going to try to do to fake your way through it, you're not going to be able to maintain the bullshit 24/7. At some point, you're going to slip, you're going to say the wrong thing, somebody's going to hear you, and your whole sham just comes unraveled. And now you've got that label on you, and you're probably going to get kicked out of the program for what? RDAP was real hard for me in the beginning. I was definitely of the mind, I've got it all figured out. I don't need anybody else's help to solve my own problems. I'm not a real drug addict. I just smoked a lot of weed and drank on the weekends. What is RDAP going to do for me? I'll tell people RDAP has very little to do about drugs and alcohol. It has a lot to do about cognitive behavior, thinking about your consequences, focusing on your choices. What have your actions done to those that you say you love? If somebody asked you, for those of you that have kids, would you ever do anything to hurt your children? Most of you will jump immediately to, of course not. I would never do anything to hurt my kids. And anybody that did they better watch out because I'll do a life sentence for my kids. Well, guess what, fool? When you're sitting in prison and something happens to your kids, you can't do jack squat about it. And when you say you would never do anything to hurt your kids or hurt your family, what do you think you're doing right now by sitting in prison? And then if you're in prison and you're still trying to game the system, not just scam your way through RDAP, but you're one of those guys that's going to go get a cell phone, or you're one of those guys that's going to go gamble, or you're one of those guys that's going to go do some recreational drugs because you got away with it once or twice. Somebody smuggled in some weed, somebody smuggled in, Suboxone strips or whatever it is. And you think you're going to go do it because you still want to be a part of the free world. I've been seeing a huge rise in guys getting busted with cell phones. These are like white collar criminals, people that are like, I'm going to go in there and do what I got to do to get back out to my family. And they're the first ones to get caught with a cell phone, not because they're running their $1 million empire, not for any other reason other than they don't want to feel controlled. Most white collar guys, and yes, if you're a white collar individual and you're potentially facing prison, I'm talking to you right now. You're used to controlling your entire world. You're used to making the decisions. You're probably the leader of your house. You're either a CEO, a CFO, or in a high-level management position where you're used to having people work for you, work under you, and you're used to that lifestyle where you get to kind of dictate how things go. Now you're potentially sitting in an environment where your bunkie might have a 7th grade reading level, never graduated anything beyond middle school, hasn't ever held a real job, and he's just as important as you are now. You are no better, no worse than him. You're at the same level, and it bothers you. So you're like, well, I have money. I can get a cell phone smuggled in here so I can stay connected to the real world and still go on Instagram and Snapchat and post on Facebook and check the stocks. You're going to get hit. You're going to get caught. And you're wondering, well, how am I going to get caught? How do people get caught with cell phones? Because everybody likes to throw everybody else under the bus. A, someone's going to just tell on you because that's what people do. Or B, you're going to be in your little pod, your cubicle with your 3 or 4 other cellies. They're going to do a shakedown. Whoever has a cell phone is going to toss that bitch on the ground. And when the CEO comes by and finds a cell phone, he's going to go, whose cell phone is this? You think the guy that had it is going to take accountability for it? CEO is going to say, okay, if nobody wants to own it, then everybody in this pod is getting a shot. What's a shot? You've got series 100, 200, 300 shots. Series 100 being the worst. Series 300, not as bad. But for a cell phone, you're definitely getting a 100, at the very least a 200 series shot. You're going to lose lots of stuff. Like you're definitely getting kicked out of RDAP. You're definitely losing good time. You're probably getting moved from a camp to a low. You're going to lose your commissary. You're going to lose your phone visits, and you're going to lose personal visitations. The only thing you'll have left is hygiene, meaning you can still purchase hygiene products. You can still get some snail mail or some paper to send out some snail mail. And that's about it. All because you needed to go check your Instagram. These are the consequences that people don't think about, and they get complacent. In the real world, this complacency sent you to prison. In prison, this complacency is going to keep you in prison. It's going to keep you away from your family. All those things that you say that are so important to you. My family's so important to me. I can't believe I don't get to see my family. I'm not a criminal, but you're acting like one. So that comment, again, on Sean's channel, let's just show it one more time because it's important. Just look at it. Just read it. Read the just blatant, I'm not going to follow the rules. Just read that message. And if you read that message right now, and in a month from now, we found out this guy got in trouble for something, or he violated his probation or whatever, no one's going to be like, oh, wow, I'm so surprised. It's going to be like, yeah, kind of saw it coming, dipshit. So, but bragging about it, it's even taking it to the next step because it's like nothing is getting taken seriously. Prison's not fun. I don't care who you are. I don't care what prison you're going to. I don't care if you're at Camp Cupcake or you're at a super easy low or you're at a super max prison. Prison is prison at the end of the day. You're away from your family. You're away from your friends. You're away from some good food. You're surrounded by men who sometimes don't have the best hygiene. They don't have the greatest of manners. They're farting, they're burping, they're talking back to staff, making your life extra tough. And now you create this contrast between staff and inmate. It's like these internal battles that just becomes something that you could avoid by taking some fucking responsibility for what put you there to begin with. You know, I'm not saying everybody that's in prison deserves to be there, But if you got federally indicted, you did something that you probably look back and say, okay, doing it over, this is what I would do different. And if you can honestly just be real with yourself and take accountability and start doing little things in your life to make these adjustments, to create these new habits. Everybody wants to be a better person, but not everybody's willing to put in the work. Everybody wants to be a millionaire, but not everybody's willing to put in the work. But long-term goals start with short-term goals. And you've heard me say this a million times. If you're trying to become a better version of you, start with something attainable. Make your bed when you wake up in the morning and do your dishes before you go to bed at night. If you're not doing those two things, but yet you're going to go out and solve the cure to cancer or something, you're putting the cart way before the horse, guys. So this is just a short video to kind of talk about some options and some opportunities that some of you are going to have getting ready to go into RDAP, the Residential Drug Abuse Program. And if you're not sure how to get into RDAP, if maybe you've already done your PSR and you weren't super honest at the time of the pre-sentence interview, I will tell you, a lot of the people we talk to, a lot of our clients that find us after the fact, meaning after they've taken their plea deal, they've already met with U.S. probation, they've already done their pre-sentence report, but they did not disclose substance abuse. Or maybe they didn't even think they were an addict because they understood substance abuse as somebody that's like shooting up heroin or snorting 8 balls of cocaine every day or drinking fifths of vodka, at lunchtime. But addicts come in all different shapes and sizes. You've got recreational, you've got functioning alcoholics, you got functioning addicts, you got people that are smoking weed, you got people that are just drinking on the weekends. But if it's altering your life in any way, if it's altering your mood in any way, if it's altering your decisions in any way, you might be an addict. You might be a candidate for the Residential Drug Abuse Program, but maybe you didn't disclose that. So having a free consultation with somebody like me, which again, there's a link in the description of the video for free consultation. That's my plug. We can talk about it. And if you don't have that information in your pre-sentence report, we can link up with Sean from Federal Prison Talk, which I'm going to be doing a video with him on Thursday. We're going to be discussing how he went from, a drug user to going to prison, to getting out of prison, to turning his life around, and now became an actual a licensed chemical dependency therapist, which can now do evaluations, create assessments that can be sent to the BOP, that can be sent to RDAP coordinators to offset information that maybe was not disclosed at the time of the pre-sentence interview. So all of this stuff is super valuable. It all depends. It's in the eyes of the beholder. If you're not ready to take the step of accountability and you think you're just going to kind of scam your way through this program, and you're like, I don't need any of this stuff, then probably don't book a consultation. Don't waste your time. Definitely don't hire a consultation if you're just going to continue to look for shortcuts. There's nothing wrong with looking to take advantage of what's out there, programs, First Step Act, Second Chance Act. How can you qualify for more halfway house? If you have sick family, if you have a child in need, these are all very, very viable reasons to try to return home as fast as possible. But if you're going to scam the system while you're in there and lie to yourself and lie to your family just to get out sooner, to continue to be that liar, you're probably not doing your family any good. And they're probably, hate to say it, they're probably better off without you right now until you get that shit figured out in your head. So that's all I got for you guys right now. Click on the link, book the free consultation, go check out Sean's channel. If you're getting into making videos yourself and you'd like to live stream and look really cool like RDAP Dan does, there's also a link in here for StreamYard. I think they send me like $20. So, some gas money or something. I don't know how that works. But anyway, StreamYard's really cool. Let you do these neat things. Guys, I'm Dan Wise, Federal Prison Time Consulting. People having people, community is method, one day at a time. I will see you guys Thursday with Sean Cowgill, and we're going to get to hear a little bit more about his journey and how he became a chemical dependency specialist. All right, guys, peace out. Have a great day. Goodbye.